Isn't that lovely?
It's certainly refreshing. Wow. You just have to stop thinking about orcas. That's all. A little bit nervous. But, you know, it's silly, isn't it? Hello and welcome to Spain. Not the easiest passage from Mallorca, but we made it.
No, unreliable, unpredicted winds, the usual thing for the Mediterranean, I suppose. But we're here now and the wind seems to have piped up a bit now.
Yeah, it does. Wind in the anchorage. I hope you like the film. Coming up, the danger lurking beneath our boat. The rip in the sail that's holding us up. And at last, we make the most of flaky winds. Welcome to Spain. Our last few days in Mallorca are spent with family. Good food, good views, and of course, hiking. There are hundreds of small beaches around the island, but as always, we are keen to get to the top. Why do we do that? Crazy. We've had a bit of a climb up from the beach, but now we're at the top of the world, and it is really quite spectacular.
It's also very hot.
It is very, very hot. I'd actually rather be in the water, I think, but it's lovely. Unusually quiet, that cicada.
Yeah, I don't want to take it back to the boat. We've already had one in the rigging. They're very loud. Going to the forest.
It is quite a challenging walk, not a coastal stroll by any means. Going down already.
With a breeze, it's good. Following wind.
But it does take us to some lovely places.
Go on, Millie. Just when it looks like the path has come to an end, got a little cave to go into. Quite handy.
In all, we cover about 3 miles in a couple of hours. And in this heat, that's enough.
Lovely, isn't it? You have to get to here, then we've got to swim now.
Okay.
Out and around the cape, back.
Absolutely. How did I know?
Either that or rock climbing.
Yeah.
Don't know how we get out, actually.
I think they should measure these things in steps rather than distance.
Right, just so it fit in with your Fitbit.
There's that.
How many steps you've done.
And you might know how long it's going to take.
Yeah, so very little steps when you're walking up big hills. But we have got flat surface now.
What way? I don't know. Left or right?
Oh,
Your map.
I've got the map.
Oh, and your cicada magnet again. Oh. The next day, with the family safely flying home, we set off for mainland Spain. It looks like the wind will take us to the north of Ibiza, where there's plenty of protection for night stops. We probably won't have time to go ashore because we're meeting more family in 10 days' time. A few hours into our journey and the breeze is perfect.
We're absolutely blasting along now. 7 knots, wind beautifully on the beam. So the boat's looking after herself, so I'm just making a new bridle for our lovely new dinghy because the old one is a little bit worse for wear. Yeah, don't want to lose the new dinghy, so I want to get a new one. Last time what I did is the bridle I spliced both bits into to a thicker line, so I'm just making life easy for myself this time. And I've got one bit that's the bridle. This bit here has got the eyes on the end of it, so I've just back spliced some 3-core in there, and yeah, and just spliced the the long line on. So I'm just going to put the loop on the end. I'll show you how to do this. It is very simple. I'm sure anyone that's ever tried knows how simple this is, but if you haven't, it's worth having a look. So basically, just open up the 3 cores. Quite tough with this one because it's tightly wound. Some of them are easier than others. When you see these instruction videos online, they're always done with some really loose, easily done. The same with working with fids and stuff. They get the line that's really easy to work with. But anyway, with this, get the length you want, pull it back to where you want it. I want the middle one of these 3, the one that's sort of lying in the middle. So this one here, I'm going to put through the middle one there. Doesn't really matter how you do this, but you've got to have a system so that you get it right and they all sort of follow. So this one comes through there, and then the one that's below it, you go back one, find the original, which is this one here, the original line, and this goes through in the same direction through there. Pull it tight. You want enough so you can get about sort of 5 or 6 tucks in, and then this one is going to go over that one there and under the other one, and that's the only sort of tricky bit really, that first bit. If you get that right, then everything follows, because you just go round and round doing it in the same direction. So pull them tight. That's it. So that one's going to go over this one, this one's going to go over the next one, and turn it, and that one's going to go over the next one, and you just keep doing that round and round. And there we go. I think I've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tucks in there. That's plenty. I'll just cut the ends off and I'll burn those in. And that's it. Job done.
We're welcomed to Ibiza by the striking Punta Muscata lighthouse. At 52 feet, it's the tallest in the Balearics. And just around the corner is our first pit stop. Just time for a cooling swim before bed. But it is an absolutely gorgeous morning. There was a little bit of swell last night, but really nothing to worry about. There, I can show you here. Lots and lots of mountains, lots of protection. Yeah, it's a beautiful bay. And Steve's getting ready to have an early morning swim.
Well, I was, but it's not that inviting. Have a look.
Purple stingers, the most dangerous and toxic jellyfish in the Med, and there are thousands of them. Their tentacles are deadly, and unusually they also have stingers on their domes. This bloom appeared out of nowhere overnight. Closer to shore there are even more of them, and then as quickly as they come, they disappear. So Steve does get his swim. The jellies are not gone altogether, but they've migrated to the bottom. Just 1 or 2 lingerers. It's now time to leave, and at the other end of Ibiza, there's a gap. Sails down for this one. Going down to less than 2 metres under us. A little bit scary. You can see the water's changed colour completely. Lovely. At last we're on our way to the mainland, and once through the gap we expect to meet wind coming from the southeast. We could cross in a day, but there's very little protection on this section of the Spanish coast, so we intend to keep sailing. That isn't easy with what's turning out to be confused swell and very little wind. It makes for a rather uncomfortable passage. But at least we have the moon.
We've sailed through the night. We've come down quite a long way, and we are now in a place that if you've watched from the beginning, you will know this is the Mar Menor in here. In fact, you can see just in there, that is the bridge which is up, the infamous bridge, because we went through that thinking we'll spend a week in the Mar Menor, and about 3 months later we managed to get out because it was March 2020, which, if you're good with dates, you'll know is COVID time, and we were just locked down in there. It was a bit of an experience. 3 months at anchor, locked down. Yeah, I mean, have a look at those episodes if you're interested in how you survive that sort of thing. I think we went slightly mad, but we were okay. But yeah, we're going to stop here, go over. There's a spa sort of just around the corner there, so we're going to do a bit of reprovisioning in the lovely new dinghy, so we can show you this for the first time. Looks absolutely fantastic. TrueKit did a brilliant job of getting it to us really nice and quickly in Mallorca. We picked it up in Mallorca. I'm just going to show you something, because we did do a long-term test on this, our old one of this, and it got a 9.5 out of 10, I think, and it lost a half a point because these got some sun damage, and I think that they've changed that. That looks different from how it was before, so maybe it'll get a 10 out of 10 now. It's certainly a really good dinghy. I mean, if you want a lightweight, flat-bottom dinghy, this is definitely the best around. They're just really, really well made. And I really like this as well. This is a new thing from last time. This is a bag, and it's a completely waterproof bag that just straps onto the seat. So that's great, because we can put the camera gear in there and it'll be perfectly safe. So yeah, good job.
Dime, ¿cuántas veces me volviste demente? Ahora sí que estoy tan solo, no es fácil. Te quiero, baby, hasta que nazca el sol, hasta que...
Newly provisioned and quite rested, we set off on the final leg of our journey to Gibraltar. We have some wind. Sadly, the swell is still with us, and there's another problem with the mainsail. We have been pushing our luck a bit there. Well, the wind has come up as predicted, which is fantastic, and it is a lovely day for sailing. The only problem for us is that it's in the wrong direction, and that means the rip in the sail, in the mainsail, which has become considerably worse over the last few days, means that it's very difficult to balance the boat when we're sailing upwind. So I just hope the wind does come round as predicted, and then we can sail downwind with our lovely Yankee and go all the way to Gibraltar, which is the plan. We're sticking pretty close to the coastline, which means there's a bit of traffic. Don't worry, this one's anchored. And the wind doesn't really improve for us, so we find a place to stop. One of the few bays with protection from the south. And it's a welcome relief.
Dinner! Yeah, I didn't catch these ones, we cheated. These come from the supermarket. It's a very good supermarket.
They look absolutely lovely. Right, I'm just going to do a salad. There's something about cooking outside, and grilled fish tastes amazing.
There we go, there's one.
Lovely.
Good.
It is. And what a lovely spot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just beautiful.
It's not bad. Got one other boat, Italian boat in front of us. It's a very nice rocks over there. The sun's just gone behind the mountain, which is actually quite good because it gets a bit cooler.
Yeah.
Well, it's another lovely morning and a really nice anchorage. We've been flip-flopping between sailing overnight and trying to get some rest by anchoring. When you just do the odd night passage, you never sleep very well. I never do anyway, so you get a little bit sleep deprived. So yeah, it's nice to stop here. And we even had the comfort of having the aircon going all night as well. We've got the batteries for it now. We put it on the ship's batteries and just ran it all night. Got us down to 46% this morning, and it'll be back up I think by mid-afternoon to 100% now. We've got everything working properly. It makes such a difference. I mean, that's absolutely brilliant. I've also got full water tanks because I had the water maker running all day yesterday and still filled the batteries up. So I'm going to go around and clean the boat and just hang out a little bit for the morning, wait for the wind to come up, which should happen about lunchtime.
You may remember in the last episode we were running very low on power. It was a problem.
We've got 3 different sets of panels going through 3 different MPPTs. All seem to be having the same sort of problem, not delivering the charge that they should, going to float prematurely before the batteries were anywhere near fully charged. So I really couldn't figure out what this is. The connections I was going through, obviously all those sorts of things. But I did find it, and it's an important one, because if you've got something like this, beware. This is what I was using. These are the breakers. So this is the small one. I had a 40, a 50 and a 60 amp version of this, and basically what happens is they get warm inside. There's a bit of plastic in there, which the spring loaded part of this, when it sort of clicks in, I noticed some of them weren't clicking down properly when you did it, and I think the contacts just weren't closing properly. I broke one apart and had a look. Contacts didn't look, burnt or anything, but I suppose, with a DC current of, voltage that low, they're not really going to do that. But it must have actually just been putting some resistance through it. I did test them a while ago, and because I was worried about one of these and didn't see any voltage drop across it. But it was this that was doing it, because I changed these, and instantly, if I show you what we're having now, go on the history, I'll put it up here again, you can see, as I scroll through, every day before it was coming out of boat really early, now just stays in there, and instead of getting sometimes 6 or 7 amps early in the morning, I'm getting 20 amps out of each set early in the morning. So that's it, hallelujah. Absolutely changed our lives, because it's meant that we're constantly full now instead of being constantly almost empty. So do beware on that. I mean, these obviously are on the side of the battery, so I thought that the sensing side, the things with the MPPT, the sensing is looking at the solar panel itself to work out how to get the most out of that. And I don't have any breakers or anything in that line at all. You don't need them, so they go straight into the MPPT from the solar panels. One joint I've got in there, and they're perfect. But this is the feed from the MPPT to the battery. So I didn't think that something like this would cause a problem, but it does, so beware. That's a nice little anchorage. That's Dutch boat over there. They came and said hello this morning. It's always nice when you get some people that watch the channel and come over and say hello, so it's quite nice. This is going to be our last night at anchor though for a while. I think we're going to have about 3 days, 2 nights probably, trying to go direct to Gibraltar, or Duquesa at least, to get down, because this is the weather that's coming in. It does sort of tend to flip-flop between sort of easterlies and westerlies coming through the Straits of Gibraltar, so this is going in our direction as of later today, so we should be able to ride this train all the way down there, which should be really nice. We do have to watch out though as we get near the end, around Marbella type area, for orcas, because they are now actually in the Med. They're not just attacking boats outside in the straits, they're doing it inside as well. I mean, I might eat my words here, but I'm not overly worried about it with this boat. We haven't got spade rudders, so I'd quite like to see them, but we'll see.
I think we'll continue to stick quite close to the shore, and hopefully we'll have enough wind to reef the main and protect what's left of it. You can always hope. Not much sign of wind yet, but while we're waiting we have some welcome visitors. Dolphins rather than orcas, and quite big ones. Another one coming. Whee!
Come on, Dolphins! Oh, he's a big boy.
And then the wind just drops completely. Well, there's nothing for it. We'll just have to sunbathe.
In the sun, it's already begun.
And still no wind. And swim. We're about 4 miles offshore in wonderful, deep, cooling water.
Is that lovely?
It's certainly refreshing. Wow. You just have to stop thinking about orcas. That's all. A little bit nervous. But, you know, it's silly, isn't it?
So what was it I said? We're going to ride that train of wind all the way down there. Well, as you can see, it's flat calm. Well, it's not flat calm actually, it's leftover horrible swell, but absolutely zero wind. It's been like that the whole night. So we've motored the whole night. We're now pretty low on fuel, which is why I'm walking down the side deck with the fenders, because we're going to head into Al Miramar fuel dock and get some fuel. Because I don't know if this wind's ever going to come up, so we might end up motoring all the way to bloody Gibraltar at this rate. It's very, very disappointing. We thought this would be a good sail, a fast sail actually, and yeah, the whole night of rocking around and trying to use the sails whenever we could, but really couldn't. They're just slatting around and yeah, taking them down and motoring. So yeah, we'll motor in, fill up and be on our way.
Well, it's just as well we filled up because there is still no wind. It's 10:30 in the morning and really absolutely nothing. There we are. Blue, nothing. Not even a ripple. But we're still on our way. We will get there. It's just not what was predicted at all. At last there's enough wind from behind to pole out. First Steve attaches the soft shackle and then we're up.
Done?
I think that's done.
Okay. Yeah, just tighten it up. That's better, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, certainly. We needed that.
Less flapping.
Well, and also we're going faster and
Yeah.
we do need to make up some time now.
Get skates on.
Yeah.
So good. Good job, they can stay out through the night.
It feels good to be underway at last, and we're off, except the wind has one last trick. It changes again, and we have to jibe.
Well, that was a very successful night sailing, the best so far on this little trip, I think. We managed to sail until about an hour before dawn with it poled out, going along quite nicely, and then it just towed off, and you know, we had to motor for a bit. But wind's come up again now, off the land, so we'll swap everything over, get the pole put away, put the main up, and see if we can sail the rest of it. We'll probably go into Duquesa.
And Duquesa is where we end up, just hours before we're due to meet up with family, including grandchildren. Phew. Good parking, Captain. Yes, that's the thing when you're meeting people. The theory is you say where you're going to meet or when you're going to meet, but never both at the same time, and we have just never learnt that lesson.
No, we haven't. But we did make it by the skin of our teeth, and we've just moved a little bit further down now. You might just see coming in at the back of us, it's the Rock of Gibraltar. It's Spanish waters here in the anchorage. It's a good anchorage, and we'll just wait and we'll go in when our sail is delivered, because Precision are rushing through our mainsail. Thank you very much, Precision, lifesavers again. We need it obviously to get down. Well, we actually want to stop at Madeira before we get to the Canaries, and then across the Atlantic. So yes, new suit of sails for that will be perfect. And we also, while we're here, I need to do the rigging, the tensioning of the rigging.
Yes.
If you saw the rigging 101 video that we did over the winter with Jade, we did the full re-rig, and he said, yeah, wait until you get to Gibraltar and then do the tightening up, because they would have all stretched an amount since then, so I need to do the tuning. So we'll do that while we're in.
Yeah, and the best news is we have proper power. I mean, we are now, full by lunchtime, which is exactly where you need to be if you're going to be doing night sailing, isn't it?
Yeah. When you're actually sailing on passages and you've got all the electrics and the auto helm going full pelt, you do need that. And I was getting worried that we didn't have enough, but having found that fault, it was a massive difference. So do check that out. If you've got anything in the line between the MPPT and the battery that's not completely up to spec, it does mess things up, more than you'd think. So very glad we found that.
And now we're in the bed, and we've got the Orcas to look forward to, and more jellyfish. I had no idea those jellyfish just migrated to the bottom.
I'm not looking forward to more jellyfish. I'm hoping that's the end of them. Luckily, I haven't seen any here, so that's good. I mean, they sort of come in groups. We found them in that one place in that announce, but everywhere else it's just been the odd one, isn't it?
Well, but there's a lot in Malta. We were just lucky, I think.
Yeah, there was at times in Malta. My sister living in Malta says some years you get loads, some years you get none. So no real rhyme nor reason to it, it seems. They just sort of sometimes really get massive numbers. So yeah, have to watch out for them.
But other than that, we will do lots of lovely swimming, because it's cold water here. It's been a big difference, hasn't it, here in Spain as opposed to in the Balearics. So it was getting a little bit warm. Yeah,
that swim that we showed, because it was offshore, we thought, it's offshore, so it's just colder water, but it's not. It's just as you get closer to Gibraltar, we didn't really notice it as we came in the first time. We're used to cold water, didn't realise. I suppose we moved slowly. It was sort of getting warmer as we went out towards Cartagena when we came in. But yeah, moving quickly on the way down. One day, boiling hot water, off the islands, off the Balearics, and the next day, freezing cold. Yeah, it really makes a difference when you get near the entrance.
Yeah, but it is lovely.
Yeah.
So that's the end of this episode. So thank you very much to our patrons. Thank you to our subscribers, and thank you for watching. And if you haven't yet subscribed, just hit the button.